Right, welcome back. So, what happened was we magically appeared in a place, and we're really, really close to where bad things happen to Brieg, and we're trying to figure out how to get into the actual place where bad things happen to Brieg, because we have to save a guy. And mostly we haven't done anything yet, but the same thing we always do, which is stand around and talk. And someday, I feel very confident that we're just going to knock on the front door and shoot all the things.
I mean, Din doesn't think so highly of this party's abilities to plan and execute, which is understandable.
At some point, every plan devolves into, well, I guess I have to kill you now.
So, we have discussed so many different plans, and Hardwick has another one.
Right.
And so does Nima.
So, what if we figure out...
I am feeling...
Instead of making 400,000 gallons of sleeping tonic and putting it in the river, what if we make a catalyst that turns the water in the river into sleeping tonic, and we just put the catalyst in the river? For like a day.
What if we forged a document saying that he's released and they just let him go?
That is as realistic as my catalyst.
We vaporize the sleeping tonic and just release it into the air.
Or we go back to plans that could actually happen.
You don't think that we could gas the whole town?
We can't forge an Elven document? Oh, we can't write an Elven.
Here's what I'd like to do.
We can.
I think we move forward with observing the jailer and observing the shipping schedule, and we see if we can use one of those two things as our way in. We don't have enough information at this point to make a solid plan.
If the jailer goes at a specific time, I can scry on him as he is entering the asylum and get his first 10 minutes of movement once he's entered the asylum. I mean, I can observe more than just him outside moving around.
Right.
I love these two plans. I love this plan. Let's do it.
So that sounds to me like Tabarin is watching the jailer.
If you want to sit back here and work on a catalyst to turn all river water into sleeping potion for the next several weeks, you do it. I fully support that effort.
Hardback gets a huge grin on his
face
and opens up his backpack and starts setting up all of his stuff.
Wait, I have an idea. What if we just make it so awful inside that they want to go outside? So remember how one time Brieg swam through poop? What if we just don't let the poop escape and it all gets backed up on the inside, and then they have to leave to breathe because it's all poop?
That is not a poopy idea.
It's not
I
the
like
worst
that plan.
My only worry is that we could spend all of that effort trying to block up the plumbing, and that they would be able to react and go and find out whatever it was that was plugging it up before it had the intended effect. You know, it would take a lot of them just not fixing it before it actually became a serious enough problem to try. I mean, we would have to find some mechanism by which we could
have to break it really
reverse
good,
the flow.
But we're really good at breaking things.
Yeah, if we can find a way to actively reverse the flow of the sewage, that is a feasible plan.
You know what? actually, Din's got it. We create something like the stuff being backed up, and while they try and fix it, we karate chop their necks, and they're passed out, and
they
people
keep sending
coming.
more people.
Yeah. They'll keep doing it. Eventually, we'll be okay to get going.
Those two
In order
guys
to
never
karate
came
chop
back
their
from
necks,
checking
we
the
have to
plumbing.
already be-
Send exactly 2 more guys.
We would have to already be
Oh, we
inside.
have to kill our plumbers. How many plumbers
We'd have
can? How many elven plumbers can there be? We only have to
We
go
would-
sit on that guy.
We would already have to be inside in order to kill the plumbers, and also, we would need the elves to be just exceptionally stupid. I don't think either
But
of
you
those.
came out, right? I mean, there's a somewhere where the poop is leaving,
Yes, and
The
if
bridge
we
is
could find
small.
some way
and we
to
could just
make
collapse it
to
really
make
good, so Harbeck can build a bomb, and we can collapse the poop escape.
It'll take
Or
And then
forever
it
for
would
it to
take
back
them-
up.
Hardens poop.
You have to literally
actually.
push it back in and cause
Right.
the levels
I
to
can't-
increase on the inside.
I can't believe that these
We
words
can do
are about
that
to come
too.
out of my
Don't you
mouth.
have a wind thing
But that
that you
could
do?
work.
You do wind.
No, listen. It's even more simple than that. Where the sewage collects, is an underground cavern. If we just collapse the cavern, the fluid has got to go somewhere, and it's going to go out the only hole out of the cavern, which is back into the asylum. I think that if we just collapse that cavern, it could actually accomplish what Din is trying to do. You know, it'd be like, you know, just squeezing that reservoir and pumping it right back out where it came.
Harbeck's
All
been
right,
working
now we
Like a
frantically
balloon.
setting up
operation.
equipment and experiments and notes and journals.
So-
and he just looks over his shoulder and says, "Right, so real bomb, not sleeping bomb."
Right. Let's call that Plan
Right.
C. All right. So we've got plans A, B, and C now. We've got
That's boring. What about
We need
Operation
to work on
Poo-Poo
Plan
Party?
C while we're gathering intel for A and B.
right. So, then you
Well,
come with me.
plan
We're
A
gonna
and
go.
B are just sit around and watch things. I'm just gonna nap.
We're going to need explosives anyway, right? And we don't have them. We need some way to collapse the cavern. Harbeck is going to work on that, while you and I go and watch the river flowing into town, and Tabarin and Gargantius try to watch the jailer.
All right.
Okay, plans A, B, and C. Let's go.
Wait, what was I doing?
You're coming with me.
Okay.
So, Harbeck looks like he's the least mobile of these plans, so we'll come back here, like an hour or so before sunset every day, while we're doing this reconnaissance, and we can share what information we've gleaned. Does that sound like a fair plan?
Tavern,
Yes.
feel a little tugging
Yeah,
on your
this will be
pant
the big
leg.
panther.
Yes.
He's pointing
does-
off in a direction.
Guys,
We settled on a plan. Now it's time for the DM to
Keep-
change everything.
keep an eye on me. And I'm going to venture over that direction and perceive and ask Sprig to give me any details it can.
5 peoples is the impression that you get. 5 peoples.
I'm going to message back to Harbeck. 5 people watching. And I'm going to look to see if I can see any of them.
Okay.
Harbeck will respond to the message. How pointy are their ears?
So Tavern, are you being sneaky?
Not particular. Well, Yes and no. I don't want it to be obvious that I'm looking for them, but that I'm just kind of taking a walk to clear my head and move that direction.
Let me have a quick look-see here. Can you roll me just a d20 by itself, please?
Sure. I hope it's a good one. Oh, that was wanting to be.
It looked so close to a 20, and
It
it wasn't
looked
a
so
20.
good.
It looked so good, but it wasn't.
I rolled 2 8s.
As you were wandering through the forest in the direction that Sprig was telling you to wander, you step on a twig, and it makes a loud snapping sound. And off in the distance on a road below you, a road heading westward, you see 5 elves in battle armor with weapons equipped. And they hear the snap, and you hear the snap. It's quite loud. And you turn, like, their heads turn to look up at you. Roll a stealth check for me, please. Okay, you managed to duck behind a tree. You don't believe they've seen you, but you can't be certain. Also, there's nowhere for you to go without walking into their line of sight right now. You're kind of stuck if they're still looking at you. And you can't tell if they're looking at you because you are cowering behind a tree.
Looking at
So-
the range on that real quick.
You're not far from the party.
Any of my own.
So can we
party
like
members.
see him ducking behind cover?
Uh,
I mean,
the
he said
forest
keep
out
an
here
eye
is
on me.
reasonably dense. He did say to keep an eye on him. I'm going to say yes, you do see him nip behind a tree.
Okay, then I'm going to gesture frantically for everyone else to take cover also. And then I'm going to go sneaky time and start moving towards where Tabard is so I can get a view of what he's looking at.
Harbeck looks
Oh,
at
wow.
That was remarkable, Gargitius.
I like take a leaf and I'm like hiding behind a single piece of leaf. Now that would be a one.
no.
Oh, Din's doing that.
Oh no!
Harbeck looks at
That's still a
Reek
15.
and his plan to hide. He looks at Gargintius,
My one is a 15, you guys.
who is hiding behind a leaf. Looks at all of the supplies that he has been carefully and painstakingly set out so that he can invent explosives. And doesn't hide. I can't hide this in time
And keep
to
in
do
mind-
any good. So Harbeck's just gonna keep working and pretend like nothing's wrong.
You are high up, like you are the topography of the land. You are on a hill above the town, which is why you could see down into it and you could recognize it as Terran. So you do have elevation on them, which means that Harbeck, you are probably hidden from sight anyway.
Okay.
Din, you accidentally blurt out, "Oh crap," as you go to hide, because you were half asleep at the time that you were told that you needed to hide. So that was a thing that just happened. And Brig, you're sneaking over towards where Tabran is to see what's going on. You
And this
sort
is
of-
what I'm doing.
Okay. Oh, Tabran's going invisible. As you sneak towards Tabran, you see him completely disappear.
Tabard's
tree
still
behind him
invisible?
becomes visible.
Why didn't we list that among our assets in the first place?
Oh, I can also cast invisibility.
You can't Why? Why is Harvest making potions when you two could just do it?
What I wouldn't give for a Holocaust.
Because that only gets 2 of us in. Would this work?
And then I'm gonna move back out to try and get an idea if they've moved or to see them, but try and do it without stepping on sticks.
Okay. 2 of them are heading up the hill. Brig, you see this as well. 3 of them are staying down on the road. Your understanding of the elven sort of civilization, you have a lot more experience with the elves than pretty much anybody else in the party. This is just a standard patrol. They head out in 5-man teams and make sure the roads are safe and make sure there's nothing untoward going on in the various, areas around the towns. It's just probably a scheduled patrol, but they seem to have been alerted to your presence by something.
Harbeck's going to start
from
swapping stuff that's obviously alchemical for stuff that's more brewing and distilling in his setup here. Swappy.
Okay.
So from my estimation, based on what I understand of these elves, assuming they just walk into our party of 4, because I'm certainly not going to be in there. But if they just stumble upon this party, how is that interaction going to go? They're going to demand papers, or what's going to happen?
They're going to be inquisitive as to why there are a bunch of non-elves camped out on a ridge overlooking the town of Terran. They are probably going to make several demands regarding purpose and intent, and asking, a lot of questions. A lot of questions will be asked. They're not going to be outwardly hostile immediately just because they found you. They're not going to walk up here, see Harbeck sitting in a clearing, and cut his throat. That's not... They're civilized, okay? They're civilized. Just mean.
Right. So I'm gonna, sneak back to where people are failing to hide so spectacularly, and tell them it's a regular elf patrol is coming. When they see us here, they're gonna have a lot of questions, and I don't think we have adequate answers. There are 5 of them. If this turns into a fight, we need to make sure that all 5 of them die. And then I'm gonna sneak back off.
Let's just say that we were shipwrecked.
In the mountains?
No, I mean we were shipwrecked and we walked here.
Harbeck starts
Tavern, with your
humming while
greater
he
invisibility.
works. Hum.
I'm gonna go ahead and do one of these also.
Tavern, you can see them coming up the hill. They're going to walk right past you. Assuming that you don't intervene, you can easily get out of their way. Tavern is muted. Because baby.
You are correct. I will step out of the way and to re-hide myself, but to watch their interaction with the rest of the group.
Okay.
It's probably going to be really good that Tavern is not there to participate in the interaction, because it's not like he's the only one of our party that is rational and makes sense when he talks. Should be great.
Hey, Gargantia's
The two
taught
elves
us out of
stop.
dying.
The 2 elves stop pretty much where you were standing, Tavern, and sort of look down and scan the ground and find the twig that you managed to snap. And I'm going to roll a survival check for them. And then they stand up and they scan the forest around them. And you can tell that they hear something. So they continue to walk past. And a few moments later, Harbeck, you see 2 elves crest the hill. And their hands immediately go to their blades as they walk into the clearing.
Yep. Harvey just keeps working, starts pouring some glasses, some travel glasses, probably not made of glass, travel tin mugs, pewter mugs, whatever we carry to share drinks with, starts pouring a few, and sort of casually, "Oh, I didn't notice you there."
What are you doing here?
"Well, making drinks, of course."
I don't think you understand, dwarf. What are you doing here?
So it's the location and not the doing that the question is pointed toward. I want to be careful to understand. Right.
You're camped above the town of Terran.
Yes. Yes, I was hoping to have a chance to ply my trade in Terran, and I just was a bit nervous because the last place I stopped, elven taste and dwarven taste in beverages is not remotely the same. And I was trying to get some stuff that would sell a bit better in Terran than I hadn't had much success here. Would you mind trying one of these and just tell me if you think they'd buy it down in town?
How did you come to be in Thacon?
From Port Etienne. I came with a group of traders, and we've split up to go find the best place to sell beverages.
And when did you arrive?
Oh, it must have been 6 weeks ago. I think it's been about 6 weeks. Would you do me a favor and
you're
just
a
try
brewer, you
this?
say?
Tell me if it meets your fancy.
We don't drink while on duty.
Can you smell it? You might. I mean, it's quite aromatic. You might know if you'd like it after. When are you off duty? You could come back. I have plenty to drink. I mean, look at Boozy here. Ah, that's what to call my mule. He's just laden with all kinds of great. I would be willing, absolutely, to share this evening when you're off duty.
And what about your companion over there, who is a large human with a large sword, as opposed to a small monk with no weapons?
You mean the bodyguard?
I'm his bodyguard.
He startles easily, and he is very respectful of local authority, perhaps a little too on the fear side of respect, and I really should fire him. He's not a good bodyguard. He hides every time we're having a casual conversation among friends. It's quite embarrassing, really. But he's a good lad, and he's strong. And when Boozy can't carry the stuff anymore, really, the sword's just for show. He carries things for me.
Can you roll me a persuasion check, please?
Sure. I was wondering when I was going to have to dice this.
Is there a dice I can dice that
Persuasion
helps him?
or deception? I guess they have the same. You can take this as either. They have the same bonus.
Well, I'm going to call it persuasion because, for the most part, you are.
I'm going to call it performance.
You're telling the truth.
Yeah.
His sword is just mostly for show. You do all the fighting, and you are a seller of stuff, and you are willing to share. It's little white lies thrown in there. I'm going to say persuasion.
Sure.
And I'm going to roll.
Oh, me too? I'm just like acting, so I figured performance was it. Because I haven't really said much.
Would you believe the best thing about this particular porter? He grew up in Dwarven lands, understands the culture and the language. It's very easy to get along with him. and he doesn't drink. Has never had a drop in his life. He's the best person to carry all of my brews because I have all of them when he's done carrying them. None of it goes missing. The best porter I've ever hired. It's amazing.
Something about your story doesn't add up. Tell me, what was the name of the ship that you came across on?
The Grebe.
I took to calling it the scary wooden coffin on the water, please don't fall apart. I didn't pay much
Sir,
attention.
it was called the Grebe.
And let's be honest, I was probably a bit drunker then than I am even now. Because I really don't like the boat part of trading. I really don't like the boat part. And I just don't. I'm sorry. They told me on the ship, what did they say? They said, if you see a guard patrol, they'll ask you for every detail of your journey. They'll want to know the name of the scary wooden coffin thing.
Harbeck, roll me. You know things.
I do know things.
You do know things. Roll me a history check. You used to trade and used to travel on the trade routes, and you are familiar with the names of the ships. Now, you know the Mary Eileen has gone down. She sunk. You were on her when she did.
Mm-hmm.
That was only partially my fault.
Only partially.
The
And then
captain's
we went back
leader was
to the
totally
shipwreck
your fault.
after it sunk.
That was 100% my fault. That is true.
Well, no, it wasn't. It was the...
We'll start with
Well,
that.
yeah.
I've really stopped paying attention to the names of the boats after I heard that the Mary Eileen shipwrecked. Every time I hear of a shipwreck, it makes me not want to get on the next ship.
Harbeck. There are two other ships that you are familiar with that run the trade routes between the Dwarven lands and Port Idian and Port Maverick. And you can take a shot in the dark if you would like to.
Yeah.
I don't actually have the names of the ships up.
Okay.
I
so
wrote them down a long time ago, but
after much babbling,
one or two.
and I was really drunk, and they told me remember, and I can't remember. Stupid. Maybe if I drink this, I'll remember. And quite a big display. Will mispronounce the name of one of the ships by a syllable or two, but kind of close. That's the plan.
Okay. I'm going to roll a D2, and then I'm going to ask you to pick a number between 1 and 2. Pick a number between 1 and 2.
1.75.
I was gonna be cheeky like Din, but she
A
stole my
full...
joke.
An integer between...
Did we
Between
we
1 and 2
whole
inclusive.
like a while ago? Is he back in the call?
I'm working on it.
Okay.
He's not answering.
Okay. I choose 1.
They seem to relax slightly. And... you really shouldn't be camped up here. If you intend to trade in the town, you need to check in. But it seems that you have a lot to pack up here, so I'm going to leave you to it. But make sure you pack up and head down to town immediately. If we see you up here again, we'll be forced to place you under arrest.
Thank you. I've done a terrible job at Elven Customs. Who do I ask for when I check in?
Valcia. He's the head of the institute. Brig, that is a name that you are familiar with.
Did I happen to have a conversation with him in a cave a short time ago?
Yes.
Cool. I'm gonna kill that dude.
I'll make sure to check in with Valcia. Thank you. I apologize for any inconvenience this has caused you on your rounds today. Do find me in town. That offer to share some drinks stands, and I would love a creature as majestic as yourself to give me some feedback on if you think that elves would enjoy what I've concocted here.
And I'll do a little bit of a bow.
Okay. They turn and walk away, heading back down to the other party, jotting something down in a book that each of them carries.
Good work, Harvick.
So when I see the two come back and they head back down and join up with the other three and they go on their merry way.
That's correct.
I make my way back up to where Harbeck is, and uninvisible reappear. Say, so I only heard bits and pieces of your conversation, but I'm impressed.
It's a lot easier to lie confidently when you know that three people are ready to unleash death and destruction from the trees if you fail.
Brig, does the name Valcia mean anything to you?
Yes.
We're supposed to check in with this person.
I meant to check in with him, which means I'm probably going to have to repeat all of those, what are now the truths. That's what I'm going to call them. Because now I am trading in the village. Girgintius is my porter. He's going to carry things for me. And you three might go about your plan of observation and things. The two of us had probably better show up in town because the guards were taking notes as they left, and we will likely be expected about as soon as I can clean this up and get it packed and loaded into town.
We'll try and recon as best as we can. Well, in character. Bless you.
To answer your question, Valcia is the first that needs to die.
Wouldn't that cause suspicion, since me and Harbeck would be the last people to have been talking to this person?
Not the first chronologically, the first in order of importance.
Oh, okay. You can kill this person after the plan, maybe.
He's the one I'm not there. Never mind.
No, you can have wandered back by now.
I haven't decided whether I want to go back yet, because I know there were three others.
They all met up down on the road. You missed a portion of what happened, but they all met back down on the road. The two that came up the hill went back down, met them, they wandered off.
Alright, then I will show up.
An eye on them.
I believe, if I'm not mistaken, Valcia is the individual you met with in the fear dream.
Yes, that's right.
He's the one that we'll be observing.
Right, so only a minor change to our plans. Gergintius can now has a more legitimate reason to be wandering around town, and you can observe Valcia from a vantage point of
proximity,
hidden in plain sight. Din and I will.
Am I going to need a story to
river.
be walking around town? Do I need to check in with Valcia as well with some sort of story?
That depends on, well, if you want to be able to walk around unhidden and unmolested, yes, you'll have to come up with something.
I need a story. I'm not much for hiding, and being invisible is not something that will last long.
Alright. Din, are you with me?
Tabarin, I'm sure that when we get to the gates, they'll be expecting two. They'll be expecting myself and Girgitius. But we could certainly bring you in
Perhaps
at the
I'm
same
here
time,
to
and you could use the cover we've already
help.
concocted. They're going to ask why you weren't there when they met us on the hill, and we're going to have
I
to
was
make up
out
some reason.
collecting herbs and
There you go.
plants from the areas around, and
Which may or may not be illegal around here, and we might have to feign some ignorance and apologise profusely. Be ready
Lying
for
and
that.
persuasion
I
are
have an
not
idea. What
not a
if
difficult
Tabarin
thing for me.
is our accountant?
It
And
makes
he
a
was
lot
on
of
the boat
sense.
with us.
One of the keys to lying, which probably should be ashamed to know, it served me well so far, is to lie as close to the truth as you can. And since Tabarin spends
And
an
I do
awful
have
lot
a
of
collection
time
of
gathering
plants and
herbs,
things.
it makes sense that he would be better able to lie about what herbs he's been gathering if they tend to question him in that direction than he would about accounting.
Okay.
Right? Breed's the
makes
quartermaster, after all.
I feel like
I
I
think-
learned
I think
something
that's-
about lying today.
That's my way in.
Great. Then the
Okay,
three of us
so
had
the
better
plan-
get down to town. The whole time he's been talking, Harbeck has been carefully stowing all of
Packing.
his supplies back in his pack and on to Boozy, and is getting ready to walk.
Okay. So the plan is Harbeck, Gergintius, and Tabarin head down to town, check in with Valcia, monitor his movements in the town, and generally act like merchants. Brieg and Din travel north along the river to keep an eye on the supply chain for the institute, for the asylum, to see whether or not they can use that as a way to get in. That's our plan at the moment.
Right. Before we all split up, we should set up a specific time to rendezvous and communicate. Probably with Tabarin, potentially silently.
Because I'll be entering and exiting the town for herbs, supposing it's not illegal.
I'm hoping
So
that I'll be able to set up in the inn and get to work. I'll probably not be as efficient as I would have been on the hill, because I'll have to spend time actually brewing. But I will have better equipment,
inn-
I hope.
the inn is number 7. Is that right?
6.
It's the one that
6.
is rectangular.
Oh, okay. So why don't you meet me near here? I'll hide in the. I can sneak up relatively close to that entrance, and we can meet there, say, an hour before sunset each day, and we can continue formulating our plan with new information as it's gathered.
Okay. The party's going to move for the first time in 2/3 of the session. Right, so Harbeck, it takes you a little while to gather your things up and prepare to head down into the town, but it doesn't take you too long. Brieg and Din, you are going to sneak north, trying to remain sneaky. Gonna need stealth checks from you guys, and I'll periodically ask for those. Tabarin, Harbeck, and Gergintius, you are going to head down to the western entrance, most likely.
Whichever one's closest
you're close to the west.
overlooking hill. We were south
Yeah,
of the
you're
town,
close
right?
to the western road. Yeah, the guards that you encountered came up from the western road, so
Okay. Yeah, we'll just follow
You're reasonably close.
their path to town.
Okay. And Brig and Din are going to sneak off and do a thing. Right, so what I'm going to do is... Brig and Din, it's going to take you a while to get north enough of the village that you feel comfortable setting up. Because you want to be far enough away that you're not... going to draw attention from the actual village itself. So that's going to take you a little while to sneakily get up there. Tabarin, Harbeck, and Gargantius, you find yourself at the western gate. Now, Brig has already explained where you need to go. As you come in from the western gate, you can see a couple of little houses there, and then it sort of opens up into a large square area here. As I mentioned before, 14 is a guard's barracks, and you see some elven guards sort of eyeing you very carefully as you wander in, as they sharpen their blades and tend to their horses. And you do know that 16 is apparently the home of Valcia, who is the head of the Institute and responsible for the town.
If nobody stops us at the gate, I'm going to make a beeline straight for the guards and walk right up to them, because they seem like people who could tell me where to find the person I need to talk to.
Stop there, dwarf. Don't come closer. What are you doing here?
I was sent to check in with Valcia. Apparently I'm not supposed to camp outside of town while I prepare my trade. We're here to... I am so bad at getting this in the right order. I've had a bit to drink today. You got to test the things. I'm trying to make some brews that elves would like. I'm not starting at the beginning, am I? 6 weeks ago in Port Etienne, the slightly mispronounced boat landed, and my companions and I disembarked to try to sell fine dwarven brew to elves, which was ill-advised. Since then, I've changed my plan, which is to invent a brew that elves like. And we've been working on that outside of town, and quite friendly patrol asked me to report to town and not to camp outside. So can you help me find Valcia, to whom I am supposed to check in?
The guards sort of look at each other and whisper amongst themselves in a tongue that is unfamiliar to you. Elven, you would assume. And one of the guards stands up and says, "I'm afraid Valcia is currently tending to other matters within the Institute."
Right, if you could just show me to the inn and whatever the correct protocol is to check in with Valcia when he has time, I would be happy to report then.
He'll be finished with his duties at sunset. You should find him at his house then. And he points over towards a more elegant-looking house just south of the guard post. Wait, you know where it is. He says, "The inn, you just cross that bridge and follow the road around to the left. It's the only building that looks human."
Is the innkeeper human?
Fancy.
Unfortunately.
Well, that's quite fascinating. Thank you. You've been marvelous. If you would like to sample some of my latest after your shift, I'm pretty good at recognizing faces. I'll really just give free drinks to anyone in a guard's uniform, as long as you're off duty. No drinking on duty. All of this as walking toward the inn, kind of like slowly turning his head and then walking backwards and waving goodbye.
Okay. You're unmolested as you head through the rest of town. You walk straight past the Institute, a large, imposing building built above the lake, or into the lake. It's an unusual structure, to be sure. The road curves around to the left, as he said, and you do see a building of human construction, peaked roofs, square shapes, glass windows. It's almost like a taste of home, given the time that you spent in Veer, and definitely unusual to see such a thing in an elven town. But you managed to get to the inn. And when you walk inside the inn, leaving Boozy outside, when you walk inside the inn, you see it basically deserted. There isn't a single soul in there except for one man, and he is human, standing behind the bar polishing a glass.
My friend innkeeper, I plan on doing this a bit in reverse. Can I offer you something to drink?
Not what I expected. Didn't expect the dwarf to walk into my bar in Elven lands either.
I am a bit of an oddity.
So what brings you to town?
I'm an idiot, basically. I thought I could sell some beer to elves. I like it. It's good beer. You'll like it. Elves don't like it. So I'm here, I'm stranded, I'm broke. Spent all my money to get here on this wild boondoggle. And I need to figure out how to get enough money to get out of here. And I'm hoping that I can find an innkeeper. When they said that the innkeeper was human, it was very hard, very difficult not to jump with joy. And you might imagine that a man of my stature has a hard time jumping at all. But I was hoping that I might talk you, friend, into letting me work in your brewery, or build you one if you haven't one, and produce drinks for the inn, and maybe be able to save up a bit of money so I can get out of here.
I'd love to help you, friend. Unfortunately, as you can see, business isn't what you'd expect in a town of this size. The elves are an unusual people, and they don't really like me. You're welcome to stay if you have the coin. I'm more than happy to allow you to use my brewery as well. I mean, I am stocked to the brim on things that they won't drink. I find myself in a similar position to you, so I mean, if you have ideas, if you can come up with something that works, that'll start to turn some business, then by all means, go and try. I've been here for 6 years and had no joy, so, you know, I wish you the best of luck.
I'm foolish enough to still think it's worth giving a shot. I'll happily pay for a bed. I've been sleeping on the ground a lot, and my last bit of gold could go to a bed for a few nights, and we'll see if we can make something of this.
Sounds like a plan. But all of the rooms are available. Let's say 1 gold piece a night, and take your pick. I don't have any reservations, or I'm not likely to have any special guests, so
Great.
choose
And,
whatever room's most comfortable for you.
Is there a stabling fee?
No, not at all.
Great.
I don't keep tax, so you'll have to find another way to feed them, but
I'll take the glass he was polishing out of his hand, fill it up, set it on the bar, and then place 3 gold pieces. About that's the first time anyone's ever paid you to give you a drink. And 3 gold for the 3 of us, and we'll go find rooms.
okay. There are plenty of rooms. They are varied from fairly common rooms with very simple beds to more luxurious rooms. with storage space and so forth. But you will be able to find something that you like, I imagine,
Great.
in the area. So, you've settled into town. You've got a couple of hours before sunset. You seem to be able to wander relatively unquestioned. Is there anything you guys want to do before you meet Valcia?
I'm just going to express to Tabrin once we're like alone in a room. I'm very surprised they didn't ask you any questions. I thought they had better notes than that. Maybe I've overestimated these elves.
Tabrin, you did see the elves wander away from the town. The patrol was leaving the area. Maybe they haven't returned yet.
Oh.
Yeah. I don't think they've made it back.
Right.
I'm sure they'll inform the rest of the guards, and the guards will inform them there was an extra, and then our
Just as I was
story
about to
will
let my guard down.
unfold.
Well,
We ought to talk to the innkeeper and find out a little bit more why he stays and how he manages with no business. He's got to have an income.
that is a bit intriguing.
I don't know that we can trust him yet until we find out.
Not trust an NPC that I put in my game? Tabrin.
He's just in character.
Not trust a lone human who runs an inn with no business in the middle of Thacon in the city of elven imprisonment. The only thing I can think of is he's there to give information to the elves who then allow him to stay.
Well, you can continue to think about that as much as you want, but unfortunately for now, that's going to be all we have time for in this episode. If you're watching on YouTube, there'll be another episode up very soon. If you're watching on Twitch, we'll be back in about 3 minutes. Take care, everybody. We'll see you shortly. Bye-bye.